The Resilience Revolution: How Black Women Are Redefining Business Success. When I recently sat down with Kim for the Pink Parachute Diaries podcast, I witnessed something truly extraordinary. Here was a woman who doesn't just talk about empowerment, she embodies it with every fiber of her being. Kim hosts weekly women's empowerment sessions that transform lives, trains business owners in sales techniques that revolutionize their revenue streams, and promotes events with such magnetic energy that people can't help but be drawn into her vision of what's possible. And she does all this while navigating a business landscape that, let's be honest, wasn't designed with her in mind. Kim isn't just a business leader, she's a lighthouse for countless women stumbling through the fog of systemic barriers. Her work reminds us that empowerment isn't just a buzzword, it's oxygen for communities that have been holding their breath far too long. What struck me most during our conversation was the quiet revolution happening across America that Kim represents. Black women are transforming business despite systemic barriers, not because the path is easy, but because they refuse to be defined by obstacles. They're not waiting for permission to succeed, they're rewriting the rules of success altogether. The numbers tell a story that's both inspiring and sobering. Black women are the fastest growing demographic of entrepreneurs in America. Let that sink in for a moment. The very group facing the most formidable barriers is leading the charge in business creation. Yet they receive less than 1% of venture capital funding. 1%. That doesn't make you pause, it should. They are creating businesses at record rates while facing unemployment levels nearly double those of their white counterparts. This isn't just statistical disparity, it's economic injustice playing out in real time. During my conversation with Kim, she shared something that literally made me stop and catch my breath. Between 2019 and 2023, Black women owned businesses saw average revenues increase by 32.7%. Not 10%, not 20%, nearly 33% growth, outpacing the overall growth rate for all women owned businesses by almost 3 times. Think about the context here. During a global pandemic, economic uncertainty, and social upheaval that tested even the most established businesses, Black women entrepreneurs didn't just survive, they thrived. They didn't just adapt, they innovated. They didn't just hold on, they scaled up. But here's where the story takes a painful turn. In that same period, Black women in the workforce faced disproportionate job losses. Their unemployment rate recently climbed to 6.1%, while white women's unemployment held steady at just 3.3%. At the federal level alone, Black women workers declined by an estimated 33% within the last year, compared to just 3.7% across the workforce overall. This isn't coincidence, it's consequence. Consequence of policy decisions, of systemic barriers, of unconscious bias, becoming very conscious exclusion. It's what happens when diversity initiatives are dismantled under the guise of merit based approaches that fail to acknowledge the uneven playing field. As Kim powerfully stated during our interview, strength doesn't mean silence, and healing doesn't come from hiding. These words resonated deeply with me because they capture the essence of what's happening. Black women are refusing to be silent about these disparities. And in doing so, they're creating pathways not just for themselves, but for generations to come. Women now own 42.7% of the nation's non employer businesses. That's 12.7 million businesses generating over $411 billion in receipts. This isn't small change. This is economic transformation happening right under our noses, led by women who refuse to wait for seats at tables where they weren't welcome. The journey to this point hasn't been paved with privilege. Women business owners, particularly Black women, have faced long-standing challenges, including gender discrimination, limited access to funding, and cultural biases, creating nearly impenetrable barriers to success. They've been asked to prove themselves repeatedly in ways their white male counterparts never experience. Many have turned these challenges into motivation. When workplace environments became too hostile or limiting, they didn't just endure, they exited. They created their own businesses where they could set the rules and culture. They transformed rejection into redirection, obstacles into opportunities, and exclusion into entrepreneurship. This reminds me of something Maya Angelou once said. You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. The data shows Black women entrepreneurs are living this truth every day, not as a motivational quote on an office wall, but as the very foundation of their business strategy. Consider this: community development, financial institutions, and targeted lending programs have begun addressing capital access issues, but progress is painfully slow. Meanwhile, Black women entrepreneurs have developed innovative bootstrapping strategies that allow them to grow despite being denied traditional funding sources. The result? That 32.7% revenue growth I mentioned earlier, exceeding Hispanic, Latino women owned businesses at 17.1% and dwarfing the average for all women owned businesses at 12.1%. They're not just keeping pace, they're setting it. This success isn't happening because the playing field suddenly leveled. It's happening because Black women are redefining the game entirely. They're creating new metrics for success, new models for growth, and new paradigms for leadership that prioritize community over competition. But we can't ignore the troubling trends on the employment side. Recent policy shifts have had measurable impacts on Black women's employment rates. This trend began in February 2024 and has been attributed partly to policy changes affecting diversity initiatives at both federal and corporate levels. When economists like William Michael Cunningham and Andre M. Perry speak about the direct correlation between policy changes and employment outcomes, we need to listen. When they point to a full percentage point increase in unemployment for Black women in a single month, while rates for white and Hispanic women remained unchanged, we need to pay attention. This isn't abstract theory, it's economic reality for thousands of families. During my conversation with Kim, she emphasized that empowerment isn't just about individual success, it's about collective elevation. When one Black woman succeeds in business, she typically brings others along. She hires from her community. She mentors. She invests. She creates pathways where none existed before. This is why supporting Black women owned businesses isn't charity, it's smart economics, it's community investment. It's backing the very entrepreneurs who are demonstrating extraordinary returns despite extraordinary challenges. As I reflect on the insights from my interview with Kim, I'm reminded of another powerful quote from Shirley Chisholm. If they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. Today's Black women entrepreneurs aren't just bringing chairs, they're building entirely new tables. Tables with room for everyone. Tables where diverse perspectives aren't just tolerated, but valued. Tables where success is measured not just in profit margins, but in community impact. But they shouldn't have to do it alone. So, what can we, all of us, do differently after hearing these insights? First, support women owned businesses, especially those owned by Black women. Make conscious decisions about where you spend your money and resources. This isn't just about one time purchases, it's about consistent investment in these businesses. It's about becoming a regular customer, not just a performative ally. Second, advocate for policies that promote equity in hiring, lending, and business development. Use your voice and influence to support initiatives that create level playing fields. Call out disparities when you see them. Demand accountability from institutions that perpetuate inequality. Third, if you're a business owner, examine your own practices. Are you creating opportunities for women, particularly Black women? Are your hiring, promotion, and compensation practices equitable? Are you actively working to dismantle bias in your organization? Intention without action is merely wishful thinking. Fourth, participate in mentorship and networking opportunities. Whether giving or receiving, these connections can make all the difference in business success. As Kim demonstrates through her weekly empowerment sessions, community creates possibility. The data clearly shows that when women, particularly Black women, are empowered and supported, they don't just succeed, they transform the business landscape for everyone. They create more inclusive workplaces. They develop products and services that meet previously ignored needs. They build wealth that strengthens communities. This is why the work of advocates like Kim is so crucial. By hosting weekly women's empowerment hours, by training business owners, by promoting events that center women's voices, she's creating ripples that become waves of change. I want to leave you with this challenge. Don't just admire the resilience of Black women entrepreneurs, invest in it. Don't just recognize the disparities, help dismantle them. Don't just applaud their success, amplify it. Because the revolution we're witnessing isn't just about business metrics, it's about human potential unleashed. It's about what happens when talent meets opportunity, when determination overcomes discrimination, when resilience rewrites the rules. The question isn't whether Black women can succeed in business despite the odds. The data shows they already are. The question is whether we'll all recognize this success for what it truly is, not just personal triumph, but economic transformation that benefits everyone. Will you be a bystander to this revolution or will you be part of it? Will you simply witness this remarkable resilience or will you help remove the barriers that make such extraordinary resilience necessary? The choice is yours. But remember what Kim taught us. Strength doesn't mean silence, and healing doesn't come from hiding. It's time for all of us to find our strength, use our voices, and create a business landscape where resilience is celebrated, but no longer required just to have a seat at the table. The future of business isn't just about profit, it's about possibility. And Black women entrepreneurs are showing us just how limitless those possibilities can be.